Be able to say, hey, you know what? This is the way. We got to walk in it. How can two walk together unless they agree? We got to have a common chord. We got to be able to be on the same page so we can connect correctly. Because when we get fitly framed as a body, you ever read in Ephesians 2? It said fitly framed. If we can get fitly framed, guess what the result of fitly framed? Grows. It says grows unto a holy temple. So if I'm not fit and framed, when you're framed, that means there's structure, there's order, there's guidance, there's instructions, there's a covenant, there's culture. The culture helps us to be fitly framed so that we could grow, not numerically, so we can grow in our faith. So that the Christ you carry become the Christ I need.
Amen.
Yes.
We talked about that last night, right? We're deficient because we presuppose certain things because we won't refer back to the manual. Now, let me move along. I got some stuff for that. I told you the heart of the matter is the heart, right? And the heart of the matter is the matter of the heart. Speaking truth does not equal being rude with those whom we disagree with. I think I mentioned that. Sometimes the most difficult virtue to acquire is to remain patient until the right action arises, right? My opinion of whatever's going on is not the right opinion. I mean, you can think you're right in your head. I mean, you can be sincerely right in your heart, but wrong in your head. Many times it's not your head that gets it right, it's your heart. You can tell in your heart when somebody's for you or not. But then you have to wait till your mind catch up with your heart. And the first thing we do, we spot off the way we feel. And that's a false balance. So we have to get the mind of Christ on it. So we have to draw back. Even though there's a tug on our heart. Y'all got that? Yeah, that'll save you a lot of trouble if you get it. Because I told you before, I don't know if I did, but I'm going to repeat this. Not everyone thinks the way you think. Yep. Know the things you know. Believe the things you believe. Nor act the way you act. We always think they need, I don't know why they're doing that. What's wrong with them? Sometimes you have to pull back. And sometimes if you really ask God, He'll show you. He'll show you the dysfunction, not only theirs, but yours. Many times He'll show you yours. Sometimes you have to throw that rock in the I ain't gonna say it. Whoever hit yep's the loudest, as they say. You got to remember certain things. Always remember, too, when you're dealing with confrontation, you're dealing with trying to make sure that strife don't remain. You got to tell yourself, do not let the lack of maturity in others destroy your purpose in God, in your life. Don't let it shipwreck you. You get what I'm saying? You got to tell yourself that. Don't allow your wounds as well to turn you into something you're not.
Amen. Yes.
Amen.
Amen. You go through a few breakups and a couple of divorces, and everybody else pays for it. You done been to a couple of churches, and then you go to a church, and then all of a sudden, you get them, what they call symptomatic responses. It's a word for it. And it's because there's certain symptoms that you've been associated with, be it spiritual or physical. It become a trigger. So in the meantime, you got to ask God to heal those wounds, so you won't jeopardize your future.
Amen.
Or your present as well. See, you got to, and I told you last week, I see some of you guys posted it, when you're comfortable in your own skin, then no one can get under your skin.
Amen.
When you're comfortable in your own skin, that you understand I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Huh? That you created an environment and a culture that's not intimidated by the flaws and weaknesses of somebody else. But that's the oxymoron for me because I'm a pastor, and if I'm pastoring, it's not just what I build, but I got to help us build. So that what I build and you build will be not in competition, but we'll be able to complement one another. So that when things come out of the pulpit, we're in sync. Why? Because we're walking together and there's a witness to what I'm saying, because you've taken the blueprint and brought the blueprint into your life so you can build correctly.
Sir.
Sometimes, y'all, you have to pursue purpose while you're processing pain. Sometimes you have to keep your heart in a certain place so that God can use you. I'm just giving you a little bit of a nutshell. We're going to move on to the other aspect, but I'm just trying to help you understand. There are ways possible that you can avoid certain things. So they don't have to shipwreck you. So you have to be able to pursue your purpose while at the same time processing your pain.
Amen.
Because relationships are painful.
Yes.
Until all of a sudden it's either, well, sometimes it's just, you have to separate. Sometimes you have to just go your separate ways. Sometimes you have to do like Roberta Duran, throw the towel up. Even sometimes in pastors, you have to do what Paul did with the guy that was sleeping with his mother-in-law. He said, I'm going to give you over to the devil. See, folks don't understand. That's all. Folks don't know pastors can give you up to the devil for the destruction of your flesh. That's an apostolic judgment. So you never want to hear a pastor say, I'm done.
Amen.
You never. If you ever hear that, if I was you, I'd hit the ground. I'd be like, no, I'm ducking. I'm about to tell you hitting the ground, because that is, in 1 Corinthians 5, you can see it. It is a legitimate ministry for apostles.
Amen.
Because apostles always have to deal with the spirits, or deal with the lack of discipline in certain individuals.
Amen.
I ain't God. I'm long suffering, but I'm not infinite. God is long suffering. I'm suffering.
Yes.
I suffer long, but I ain't long suffering. It's different. God is long suffering. I'll be like, okay, skip it, man. I'm good. When that happens, boy, that's a bad place to be. Tell your neighbor, that's a bad place to be. But we gotta strengthen our love walk. Love. When you go over into the love of fame in 1 Corinthians 13, some of us need to revisit it.
Amen.
We need to strengthen our love walk. Go to 1 Corinthians 13 and Message Bible. The only way we're going to be able to, because Jesus already told us, right? He said they're going to, what did Jesus say? They're going to know that you love, I gave it up. I meant to paraphrase and say, how the world going to know that we're his disciples. And I gave you, the quiz is over. Everybody get A. Everybody get A. Yeah, clap for everybody. But yeah, he didn't say about our doctrine, our gifts. He said love. So we shouldn't be anemic as it comes to love. We should long for it. There's 5 levels of love. Robert did teaching on it a few years back. But the most important one is phileo and agape. Phileo is friendship. You ever heard the word Philadelphia? That's where it comes from. Phileo. Yep. So we need to have that. It said, if I speak with human eloquence and angelic ecstasy, but don't love, I'm nothing but the creaking of a rusty, rusty gate. Wow. Am I right with this? Okay. Number 2. If I speak God's word with power, revealing all his mysteries and making everything plain as day, and if I have faith that says to a mountain, jump, and it jumps, but I don't love, I'm nothing. You can have all those great feats. And most of those feats have to do with people's reputation of you. That's why we like gifts of the Spirit and hearing the voice of God and casting out the devils and speaking in tongues. Not all of us, some of us. You can get stuck in your pipes. Next verse. If I give everything I own to the poor, and even go to the stake to be burned as a martyr, but I don't love, I've gotten nowhere. There's people that actually died for their faith but didn't have love. I can tell you about Martin Luther. You ever heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
That character was strong on the just to live by faith, but he was a misogynist.
Yes.
He didn't ordain women. He didn't believe women should be in ministry. Like some of the folks that's around today. They want to keep the woman in the kitchen, but they can stay back in the days barefoot and pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what I say, what I believe, and what I do, I'm bankrupt without love. Love never gives up.
Amen.
Love cares more for others than for yourself. Ain't that powerful, y'all?
Yes.
It ain't selfish. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have.
Come on now.
Oh boy. I'll leave that alone. I'm here to tell you. Anyway, what was that? Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut. Doesn't have a swell head.
Come on.
Doesn't force itself on others.
Amen.
Isn't always me first.
Amen.
How many know that's probably some marriages, huh?
Yes,
Next
sir.
one.
Sure.
Don't fly off the handle. Doesn't keep score of the sins of others.
Come on.
Oh, I think the church needs to really learn that one.
That's good.
Don't revel when others grovel. I have no clue what that means. Grovel. Yeah, grovel. I think it means complaining. Takes pleasure in the flowering of truth. Ah, that's powerful.
Jesus.
Puts up with anything. Oh, Lord help us. I wish we had said some things. Some things. Trust God always. Always look for the best. Never looks back. Boy, this is some hard stuff, ain't it,
Yeah,
y'all?
it is.
Jesus.
Yeah, we got our meter is probably at 3. We got to
Right.
You need to probably go like this, right? Like this. But keeps going to the end. Nah, keep going. Is that the end? Oh, love never dies. Inspired speech will be over someday. Praying in tongues, that's a whole other message. But all these characteristics. And see, basically, we got to understand, love really has no loopholes.